Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the judicial discretion that must be exercised rationally and impartially. Because what happened when it comes to that Section 204 situation was wild in front of our very own eyes. Before we do that, guys, please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Please make sure you are watching the videos up until the end and you are watching the ads that are coming through. When you are doing that, you will be supporting this channel financially and in numbers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Now, so we know yesterday what happened there. When Baloyi started tatazeling over when Ugwabini started giving his testimony. We know what happened. Now, the principle is simple. Judicial discretion must be exercised rationally, lawfully, and without bias. But what we saw in court yesterday, a completely different story. And it is not the first time that we come across such things when it comes to Judge Ratha, because Judge Ratha is always siding with Baloyi. No matter how wrong or how right he is, most of the time we've seen Judge Ratha siding with Baloyi, even when he is committing wrong things in that courtroom. He has been doing wrong blunders with Baloyi, and Judge Ratha never reprimands him whatsoever, never ask questions that are supposed to say, what I see what you are doing is very wrong. Stop what you are doing. He never does that. The clarity-seeking questions that he will go, that will go to Baloyi, they are never clarity-seeking questions per se. They are correct what you are doing. Do it this way for it to fit what we are trying. You are trying to get into. That's what we always see in that courtroom of Judge Ratha. So as wrong as it is, it happens. So yesterday, Section 203 misfire that they did, judicial overreach exposed also, because whenever he does these things, Judge Ratha, he gets exposed. I don't think he realizes or he grasps that part about the entire backing of Baloyi. I don't think he realizes when he is getting exposed or exposing himself. When a judge issues a Section 203 warning, it must be based on facts, not assumptions. The Criminal Procedure Act is crystal clear. You cannot warn a witness about potential self-incrimination unless there is actual established risk, not speculation, not whispers, not allegations from the state. But here is the problem. The court relied solely on the state's allegation that there is a Section 204 statement without ever seeing it, without verifying it exists, and without testing its contents. That is procedural irregularity of the highest order, and Judge Ratha knows. Doesn't he always tell that court, tell us that I know the law, I read, I remember the evidence, etc., etc., all of those things. He always brags about his knowledge, but he goes and commits such high irregular procedural situations, because what he did, procedurally irregular of the highest order, is what he committed there. It's either he doesn't care or he just sometimes gets confused in his own administration of that courtroom. I don't know, but something is happening in there. The question is, where is this Section 204 statement that was supposed to be asked by him? You cannot trigger Section 203 without examining the document that allegedly creates the risk. That is standard practice. That is basic fairness. That is the law. The same law that Judge Ratha is always preaching that he knows. Skipping that step doesn't just undermine due process. It risks creating an appearance of bias. Because the court is seen to be acting on instruction from the state instead of independently assessing the facts. And most of the time, that is what happens in that courtroom of Judge Ratha. He always acts as if he is taking instructions from Advocate Baloyi, who is the senior state prosecutor. That's what he always looks like, Judge Ratha, in that courtroom. And let's be honest, Interfering with a witness' autonomy by warning them prematurely can have real consequences for how that witness testifies. It shifts power, it shifts tone, and it raises questions the defense can easily exploit later. One of the other things that could be outcomes, SCA will have the final word, ne? If this case goes anywhere else, as Judge Rata normally says. If the trial proceeds with such untested assumptions and irregularities, the consequences are predictable. The case is vulnerable, deeply vulnerable at the Supreme Court of Appeal. Appeals courts don't tolerate procedural shortcuts, especially ones that could materially influence the credibility, comfort, and freedom of a witness. Do you see why we always say Judge Rata is up to something? Okay, we'll talk about that in another video some other time. But what I'm trying to get at is that we see what is happening in that courtroom. We see, we smell it, we sniff it every day the court is on. We see it. Because I do not understand some of the things that he does in that courtroom with Judge Rata. And this one was topping the charts. In fact, whenever you think with Judge Rata, you've got him figured out in topping the charts with the incidents that happen in that courtroom, oh, Sanalam, he will bring something new. He will bring something else out of the ordinary. He will bring you nothing that shocked you like the last time. He will shock you even further. He will electrify you, Judge Rata, with things that he do in that courtroom. He will brag about knowing the law. He will brag about studying English. He will brag about 56 years of experience. He will brag and brag and brag, and he will get emotional. But one thing about him, he will never follow what he says he knows. Unless he is put in a in a very tight corner, that's when you will see him moving to the direction of doing right. Other than that, oh my goodness, forget it. Forget it if you don't get it. Ow! Judge Rata, he does as he pleases. He is the law unto himself in that courtroom. That is how he deals with things there. So I don't know how is this going to play out, but all I know is this. At SCA, the SCA will have full day with Judge Rata in this case. There's a lot that they will find as very, very wrong in this case. There's a lot of things that SCA is going to find highly irregular in this case. Even the ones that were not even put on record by the defense, but the defense has learned to put things on record. But one thing for sure, Judge Rata is not here for this defense, is here for the state. He instead is defending the state. There's no neutrality in him when it comes to this case. He's not a neutral man. That I can tell you for free. Sanalam. That I can tell you for free, Sanalam, because what is this? Oh, what is this now? What is this? I do not believe in what he does. Oh, I absolutely don't believe in the things that he do. I don't believe every time he tries something, you will get shocked and you will think you've seen it all, and he will bring something else bigger than the last one. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Do you think that Judge Rata was right for doing what he did? Do you think Judge Rata is committing gross misconduct? Do you think Judge Rata is not scared of being impeached? Do you think Judge Rata doesn't care? What's going on? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much for all your likes, your shares, your commitment to the channel. Please continue doing so. And thank you so much for reaching 15,000 subscribers. I am smiling. I am smiling. You made my week, because wow, Sana, what an excellent week. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.